Let's begin bluntly. You and I, now, will look at the house as if observing a forge. A forge is the place where raw metal is heated and shaped until it takes shape. I say that your home can be this for you. Not a hiding place, not a consolation prize, but a silent training space. If the street is a sea of voices, the house is the shore where you learn to breathe. I'm not talking about sad isolation. I'm talking about attentive presence. Think simple. When you close the door, the world stays outside for a moment, and you can hear yourself. What you do with this moment says a lot about who you will become. If you use this time to distract yourself endlessly, you go around in circles. If you use this time to organize yourself, you grow. My role here is to guide you in transforming this space into an ally. With each paragraph, I will illuminate a light that you can apply that same day. Because good theory is one that fits in your pocket and accompanies you throughout the entire house. The first key is to accept the house as it is today. Not bigger, not smaller, not prettier, not better equipped. This is amor fati. Accepting reality as a working material, not an obstacle. You don't need to wait for the perfect table, the perfect lighting, or the ideal decor. What you have now is enough to get started. The path is simple. Remove excess from your field of vision, clear the countertop, and define a corner. When the space is clear, the mind also clears. Use easy-to-understand symbols. An empty chair reminds you to sit and study. An open notebook invites you to write. A visible bottle of water invites you to take care of your body. These objects act as arrows. They remind you of your intention when your will fails. This is symbolic language applied to everyday life. You install signs that guide your inner movement without needing long speeches. The second key is rhythm. Rhythm is the invisible music that sustains the day. Without rhythm, you depend on mood and novelty. With rhythm, you move forward even when your willpower wanes. I propose 3 short, simple, and repeatable blocks. Body, clarity, creation. Body first, to awaken energy and remove rust. Clarity second, to organize the mind. Creation last, to transform thoughts into actions. Each block lasts 20 to 30 minutes. In the body, stretch, breathe. Do the minimum that increases your inner warmth. In clarity, write down what needs to be done. Tidy your desk. Read 2 pages of something that elevates your thinking. In creation, produce something that didn't exist before. A line of text, a sketch, a draft, an adjustment to a project. It seems small. Added together, it changes the axis of the day. What repeats itself creates tracks. Tracks carry you forward even on cloudy days. The third key is to choose one focus at a time. Multitasking may seem like productivity, but it robs you of depth. Depth is where value is born. When you focus on one thing, you hear the details that previously passed silently. This listening is contemplation. Contemplating isn't standing still, staring into space. Contemplating is holding a topic calmly, without anxiety, until it reveals itself. Do a simple test. Take a topic that truly matters and put it in front of you for 15 minutes, without opening other windows, without jumping between tabs. Watch the discomfort come and go. Then, watch the ideas emerge. They do. At first, they're timid. With practice, they take shape. The house helps with this because it reduces noise. Less noise, more listening to what matters. This is where the affirmative and critical tone comes in. You affirm what you want and criticize what gets in the way. You affirm the direction, criticize waste. Thus, focus ceases to be a heroic effort and becomes the habit of those who know where they're going. The fourth key is to treat time like clay. Malleable time bends when you decide what's a priority. Rigid time breaks when you try to fit everything in. To make it malleable, remove the little thieves from your path. The cell phone open beside you, the television on out of habit, the refrigerator as an unplanned stroll. I know these are easy pleasures. I'm not asking you to abandon them. I'm asking you to choose the time. Give yourself short periods of undivided attention. Then, truly rest, without guilt. Rest gains flavor when it's earned, and attention yields when it has a beginning, middle, and end. Place a time marker in plain sight. Not to punish yourself, but to give it shape. Without a shape, the day spreads out. With a shape, the day takes shape. Whoever draws the shape of their own day draws their own character. The fifth key is self-talk. What you tell yourself while organizing your home shapes your energy. If you repeat that there's no way, your body lowers. If you say you're learning, your body straightens. It may seem small, but it isn't. Language is a tool for construction. Use simple, direct, and active words. I choose. I begin. I continue. I finish. It's not empty self-help. It's a command. A command that reminds you who's leading. In moments of doubt, ask something short and sharp. This brings me closer to what I want. If the answer is no, cut it or postpone it. If the answer is yes, take a step forward. One step doesn't solve life, but it paves the way. An open path invites the next step. This chain of events creates stability. Stability sustains long-term projects. Long-term projects build a measured life. The sixth key is to transform the home into an ethical laboratory. Ethics here isn't a sermon. Ethics is coherence between what you value and what you do. If you say you value health but don't sleep, you lack coherence. If you say you value study but don't set aside time, you lack coherence. The home reveals these gaps. It's a mirror. Use this mirror without harshness, but with firmness. Correct without humiliating yourself. Each morning, choose a small coherence to practice. Drink water as soon as you wake up. Make your bed after getting up. Sit for 10 minutes to read. These simple actions form a foundation. The foundation holds you when your mood drops. The foundation sustains you when your schedule is tight. The foundation protects you when the world is rushing. At the end of the day, review without drama. What went well? What can be improved tomorrow? Amor, fati, again. Accept the day as it comes and use its rough edges to sharpen your character. The seventh key is to be careful not to over-involve yourself. Silence is good. Too much silence turns into a stagnant puddle. A stagnant puddle creates mud. How to avoid this mud? Establish small openings to the world. A short walk in the sun. A conversation with someone you trust. A one-off appointment outside the home. It doesn't have to turn into a party. It doesn't have to turn into a packed schedule. Just openings that renew the air inside. You don't need to live at war with the outside noise. You need to regulate how much of this noise enters your life. He who regulates, governs. He who governs, grows. This measurement is personal. Learn yours by observing simple signs. How is your breathing? How is your sleep? How is your patience? These sensors tell you when it's time to seek fresh air. The eighth key is to make the table an altar of possibility. The altar, here, is the place of commitment. When you sit, you affirm with your body what your mind has decided. So treat this gesture with respect. Sit with your back active. Leave only what's necessary in view. Write a line before opening messages. Read a paragraph before checking social media. When you put creation first, you affirm to yourself that your voice matters. This isn't empty ego. It's responsibility. The world is already noisy enough. What's missing are people who organize ideas and deliver something that helps others. You can be that person from your simple corner. Value doesn't arise from the luxury of the room. It arises from the discipline of returning to the same place and cultivating the same seed until it becomes a tree. The ninth key is the closing ritual. Ending well prepares the next beginning. 5 minutes is all it takes. Turn off the screens, put things away. Write down tomorrow's first action. This small foresight reduces the friction of starting over. The mind wakes up with a clear direction and moves on. When you close the day respectfully, you communicate to yourself that your life has a direction. This calms, this strengthens, This gives a sense of authorship. And authorship is the word that sums it all up here. I want you to feel like your life is something you write, not something you just read. Home is the place where this authorship is rehearsed on a human scale, every day, in the details. Now, stop for a second and answer without rushing. When you close the door, what do you choose to ignite within? What do you decide to practice in silence? What value do you want to see grow? I can't answer for you. I can only show you the way and walk alongside with that lamp lit. Next, I'll give you a simple test to differentiate when your home is a healing refuge and when it starts to become an invisible prison, and how to adjust your course before the mud forms. I want you to follow me through a simple scenario. It's late afternoon. The light outside fades, the traffic rumbles in the distance, and you arrive, your body worn from a day that demanded more than it had. The key turns, the door opens, the air inside is quieter. You take off your shoes, feel the cold floor, press the silence to your ear as if holding a seashell. This common gesture, entering, can be escape or care. Escape is running from the world, so as not to see what hurts. Care is withdrawing to heal what has torn. The difference isn't in the boss, the city, or the people. It's in the name you give to what you feel and the first step you take after closing the door. Storms come to everyone, but some linger longer. Months of overtime, a relationship that implodes, a sudden move, grief, a health scare, fatigue that won't go away. When the soul takes too much rain, the body seeks shelter. The home becomes a shelter. And this isn't laziness. It's a response from a wounded life trying to rebuild itself. But I say firmly, a refuge without direction becomes a hiding place, and a long hiding place becomes a prison. If you close yourself off out of fear, the fear grows. If you step into care and decide how to care, something silent grows again. This is where my voice guides a simple, visible care, within your reach now. Use a compass. Think of the room as a small repair shed. Nothing expensive. A sturdy chair, a clean table, a calming lamp, a notebook, a pen, a glass of water. When life gets complicated, the tools need to be simple. Sit down. Take 10 deep breaths. Write down on a line what hurt today. 3 nouns, 3 situations, 3 verbs. Naming removes the monster's mask. Named, it shrinks. Observe the body. Stiff shoulders, clenched jaw, cold hands. Adjust. Stretch the neck. Loosen the jaw. Warm the hands. 2 minutes is enough to tell the nervous system gravity is different in here. The silence changes texture. What once frightened becomes ground. There are days when the noise from outside comes in with you. For those moments, create a visible boundary. A rug near the door. A coat rack where you hang your weight for an hour. A lit candle that you blow out when you're done. Symbols mark passage. Your brain appreciates it. You communicate. Outside stays there for a while. Now I'll take care of inside. This doesn't solve life, but it changes the climate. And the climate changes decisions. A scene that could be yours. Joanna, 34, a teacher. She likes people, but school exhausts her. He comes home and turns on the TV to keep her company. But the company irritates her. I propose 5 days without background noise, 10 minutes of hot water on her hands, a cup of tea, 2 paragraphs of a book that doesn't require an exam. On the first day, her mind screams. On the third, it subsides. On the 5th, she writes, "The silence no longer threatens me. It seems the house has shrugged me off." The world hasn't changed. Her response has changed. It's the beginning of the healing refuge. Small, repeatable, human. Another scene. Marcos, 41, logistics and deadlines. Habit, opening his phone in the hallway, backpack on his back. I ask for a 7-day trial. Phone on a tray by the door. Touch only after the first glass of water and putting away his keys. On the 2nd day, he laughs at the nonsense. On the 6th, he admits that his head stopped spinning in those 15 minutes. The interval between entering and diving into the screen restores rhythm to the heart. I don't ask for abstinence. I ask for choice. Choice is the muscle that differentiates refuge from escape. Sometimes the storm echoes in the silence. When all is still, voices of the day scream from within. An old boss on my back, an old guilt, a broken promise. Silence doesn't just bring peace, it brings content, and it's not always sweet. At this point, ask yourself 3 quick questions. What here is fact? What is fear? What is habit? Fact demands objective action. Fear demands care and small tests. Habit demands exchange for something useful. Give each thing its own drawers. What depends on me, what doesn't, what I accept as is and use to my advantage. Amor fati is accepting what doesn't change and transforming it into building material, the craftsmanship of destiny, not resignation. Small shifts give way to a new path at the same address. The dining table becomes a drawing table for 15 minutes. The window becomes a frame for 3 breaths before responding. The sink, to the sound of a brief song, becomes a place to untie knots. It's not magic, it's domestic emotional engineering. Change the role of objects to change the role of the mind. Even in small or crowded homes, refuge fits. Sometimes it's the size of a chair and the length of a song. In homes with children, it fits into the choreography of preparing milk, folding a t-shirt, sitting on the floor for 2 minutes, and feeling the weight of your own body. Where the family needs you constantly, a gentle code applies. When the blue cup is on the table, it's my minute. Coexistence learns when it realizes that this minute improves your mood and returns a better you for the exchange. There's a test I teach to those who fear their own silence. Before crossing the threshold, grasp the doorknob and ask, do I enter to escape or to care? If the answer comes shakily, turn on a light and do 2 concrete things: water and a clean face. If it comes firmly, sit down and write down the first act of care. The doorknob test trains the gesture. Over time, it happens without words. The body learns the difference between running and choosing. You might wonder if this is possible with your head full of bills and deadlines. It is, because I don't ask for fantasy. I don't demand absolute silence, free time you don't have, or a change of city. I ask for 5 minutes governed with awareness. Repeated, they make a furrow in time, through which water flows in the right direction. The storm will return, but the furrow remains, guiding the flow. You don't control the rain. You control the shape of the terrain. Refuge creates terrain that slopes toward the life you want to maintain. Save a scene from the lighthouse. It's raining outside. You turn off the last light in the kitchen, the house breathing with you. On the table, a notebook with 3 lines, an empty cup, the pen leaning on the rim. You take a breath, let it out slowly, and feel a little more whole than when you entered. There was no epiphany, there was care. Repeated care is the brick that builds strong walls. The rain returns, of course, but now you know how to enter, care, and leave. And when you leave, you'll leave less burdened, more capable of choosing the next word, the next gesture, the next companion. Next, I'll show you how some people not only recover at home, but recharge their invisible battery with precision, and how you can measure your own energy to adjust your pace without betraying yourself. I'll start with the point where many stumble. Needing silence isn't coldness or maladjustment. It's energetic intelligence. The world demands it with noise, haste, and expectation. Your body has learned the right gear. The house becomes a powerhouse. I'll be by your side to tune this powerhouse. Simple. Hand on the pulse. Feel the rhythm. Respect the beat. Adjust the dose. When the beat gets out of whack, everything weighs down. When you honor it, something inside you ignites. Introversion isn't stinginess for light. It's engineering. You have a battery that charges slowly and discharges quickly with too much stimulation. Dear people can tire you out. Bright light tires you out. Loud noise tires you out. Quick decisions tire you out. Because the house recharges. Because stimuli decrease, choices are reduced. The mind calms down, and the body finds a familiar rhythm. I don't suggest locking yourself away. I suggest reading your control panel like someone checking their temperature before a rainstorm. Imagine the day as a corridor, where each encounter costs attention coins. You can spend it all at the first corner, or pay little by little, depending on what matters. At home, keep a spare glass. Short habits that recharge. 5 minutes at the window. 2 pages of reading. A warming tea. A warm bath. 10 lines in a notebook. It seems like little. Repeated, it changes everything. You leave with a spare in your pocket, and your pace changes. Now for the battery map. Morning. Long silence or short movement. Midday. Measuring what the world has taken away and opening a pause that fits. Evening. Gently emptying or giving the last spark with authorship. It's not a rigid grid, it's a compass. Amor fati here is practice. Accepting your true rhythm and building life around it, without apologizing for needing less noise. There is the breath of the day, exposing and recollecting. To expose is to go out, to exchange, to decide. To recollect is to empty, to organize, to create in silence. If you expose for too long, the body craves shelter. If you recollect too much, the mind craves the world. The secret is to alternate before exhaustion. 2 hours of the world. 20 minutes of home, half an hour of conversation, 10 minutes of a clean desk, an intense meeting, a short walk with your phone in your pocket and the screen facing down. This isn't luxury, it's maintenance. There's a common misconception: measuring value by noise, stage presence, and constant presence. Not all light illuminates. Too much light dazzles. Not all presence convinces. Some presences merely occupy space. The best that an introvert delivers comes from depth, and depth requires solid ground and time. The home, used wisely, provides both. Remember the triad that organizes the day: dose, duration, and distance. Dose is how much of the world you can experience at a time. Duration is how long you can sustain it. Distance is the margin between what's yours and what's outside. Adjust these three, and life takes on a breathable shape. How much water your battery can handle before you need to use it? How long your lights stay on? How far away you can protect your shore without becoming a wall? Think of introversion as a house with adjustable doors. Acoustic door, a gesture that muffles the day's noise. Arrive, take off your watch, drop your keys on a plate, take 3 breaths with your feet firmly planted, and only then speak to the one you love. In less than a minute, say you arrive clean. Focus door. Turn on the lamp. Leave a single object on the table. And write 2 lines of the project that matters, before any message. These rituals protect the core without harming anyone. There's also the social door, more subtle. Intimacy sometimes takes up more than you realize. Instead of fighting, agree on gentle signals. A headset on the table indicates you're nearby, but reserved. A blue mug near your notebook requests a half hour without questions. A sign facing up means busy. Facing down means available. When the house respects its doors, internal blackouts are rare. I teach a ritual that seems like a child's game and works. 3 verbs: empty, organize, create. To empty is to remove from the table, from the head, from the chest. To sweep, discard a piece of paper, write down a concern, let out a breath. To organize is to put things in their place, group by affinity, give short names to the next actions. To create is to produce something that didn't exist. A decent email, a line of code, an idea in a notebook, a piece in a drawer. 15 minutes close the cycle and return authorship. Clean fuel. Which verb has been stuck the most? What do you try to create without having emptied? What do you try to order without having named? When loneliness opens the door to inner noise, don't fight your thoughts. Change the chemistry of the moment. Look at your hands and describe what you see. Temperature, texture, signs. Describe an object in front of you. Color, corner, surface. Concrete pulls you back to the present. And the present is a place of burden. Welcome, name, and invite your thoughts to sit in the corner while you continue. Introverts can be excellent hosts when they set the scene to their liking. A small table, a few people, a simple agenda, a start and end time. Conversation with pauses, unhurried laughter, and unashamed silences. I call it the fireplace effect. A small, constant flame, everyone leaves feeling warm. You can do this at home and within yourself by igniting a gentle way of being with others without abandoning yourself. There's a dangerous confusion between rest and anesthesia. Rest restores sensation. Anesthesia temporarily takes it away and charges interest. Endless scrolling, food that doesn't nourish, conversations that only occupy, series in a row that leave no breath. If after the supposed rest you feel heavier, it was anesthesia. If you feel lighter and clearer, it was rest. Test it for a week and record it. When you discover your true rest, treat it like a personal pharmacy, the correct dose and the sealed bottle. The mature choice arrives. Instead of demanding that the world lower the volume, you adjust your own dial. Instead of fighting to be different, you organize your life so that what you are flourishes. Amor fati in action. Loving the given. Working with what exists. Making limits a design, not a wall. There will be tides. On high tides, you speak more and accept invitations. On low tides, you retreat and prepare the ground. Neither is a defect. These are the ways of the same sea. Those who read the tide choose when to enter, when to return, when to observe. Peace that does not depend on applause. And then the important edge. The battery returns to green and begins to generate sparks. Silence doesn't just contain, it suggests forms. An idea pulls a thread. A memory demands a new frame. A problem finds a place. It's the edge where introversion stops protecting and starts creating. Don't confuse it with rare inspiration. It arises from proper rest, from the alternation between world and retreat, and from the 3 verbs. Faced with the spark, there are 2 choices: ignore it and return to the spin, or sit back and give substance. What if your home were not just a power outlet, but a generator? What if, when you close the door tomorrow, you realize that the energy that returns serves not only to support the next day, but to ignite something that doesn't yet exist? Next, I'll open this generator and show you how to transform solitude into a creative laboratory, so that your light is not only preserved, but begins to radiate in a way that makes sense to you and to those who cross your path. I want you to imagine the house as a studio with no panels on the walls, no expensive equipment, just the table, the window, the soft noise of the street, and a question stretched like copper wire. What can you build from here? The answer isn't born of trickery. It appears when you shape the silence. Silence isn't empty. It's raw material. Touch this material like someone kneading bread. The dough yields with heat and pressure in moderation. Creating at home requires both. Heat is attention. Pressure is limit. Attention without limit is lost. Limit without attention hardens. The point is the elastic between the two, when the mind stops running and starts walking. Many people believe that creating requires a grand setting. The body, however, knows that the best chords arise from what's at hand. A refrigerator noise becomes a song's theme. A dirty napkin becomes a praised drawing. A blackout yields a sketch of a solution. It's not luck. With fewer stimuli, hidden forms become visible. The house reduces noise and, with it, reveals the path. Blockages happen. Treat them like a narrow corridor, not a wall. A simple procedure. 2 references side by side, base and contrast. A clear constraint, time and scope. And the big question at the top of the draft. What am I trying to say? What am I trying to resolve? 30 minutes like this is enough for the raw material to soften. Get up, drink water, wash a cup, look at the street. When you return, the passage will be wider. Biographies of inventive people are repeated on kitchen tables, garages, and makeshift bedrooms. This isn't a romantic myth. Home combines familiarity and mastery. Familiarity calms the body. Mastery controls noise. With the body calm and the noise tamed, the mind descends to depths unattainable by the street. Profundity cultivates works that surprise because they aren't forcibly torn away. They mature under a familiar roof. See the house as a map of micro-entrances. Washing the cup opens the way to sit. Turning on the lamp opens the way to write. Pulling out the chair opens the way to draw. Micropaths reduce friction, and creation is a constant struggle with friction. A notebook already opened 10 minutes ago becomes a bridge over the river of distraction. It seems like superstition. It's attention engineering. I bring you a concise account that keeps the improbable with its feet on the ground. A cook, teaching her daughter, explains the sauce's consistency through the sound of rain on the porch. Light rain, stir slowly. Heavy rain, lower the heat. The domestic image clarifies the technique. The cell phone video circulates among friends and becomes a short course. There was no studio. There was a living translation born from a real address. When you translate with what you have, the work takes shape. Make a pact with chance. You don't control the arrival of an idea, but you can pave the way for it to enter without stumbling. Set up collection points. A notepad next to the bed, notes on your phone, a pencil taped to it. If it comes in the shower, formulate 3 sentences out loud and repeat them until you leave. When the mind recognizes respect for ideas, it brings more. It's not mystical. It's perception training. Quick exercise to open a side window. Choose a common object, a spoon, a plant, a notebook, and ask 3 questions. What material is it made of? What is its real purpose? And what unlikely use would it have? Answer simply, then connect it to your real problem. The spoon becomes rhythm. The plant becomes patience. The notebook becomes continuity. This transposition shifts the mind from the worn-out track. When it returns to its main task, it is less rigid. Discipline doesn't kill the creative flame. It protects it. It's the wall that shields the flame from the wind. The house allows you to build this wall in thin layers. Always start the same way. End with a short gesture. Review using a stable criterion. What extinguishes it isn't discipline, it's the wind of distractions. So, make small vows. Sit before scrolling. Write before responding. Sweep the desk for 3 minutes before taking any break. Fulfilled vows build confidence. Confidence lowers anxiety. Lowered anxiety, creativity breathes. Organize your ideas so they don't evaporate. Loose notes vanish. A single pile swallows half of what matters. 2 simple boxes are enough, now and later. The now box holds upcoming actions. The later box holds seeds. Review on Sunday. Promote living seeds. Discard those that have withered and thank those that have borne fruit. Your mind relaxes because the house holds them for you. A short story from inside a cramped house. A teenager sharing a room discovers that at 5:20 a.m. there's silence. 25 minutes a day for a year became 3 basic skills. Vocabulary in another language, repairing an old keyboard, and basic technical drawing. There was no miracle. It was brick upon brick while the city slept. The window could be another time for you. The logic is the same. Brief routine, focus, repetition. For those juggling multiple roles under one roof, it's worth making an adjustment that bridges conflicts without disrupting the fabric of the day. Choose a room or corner that changes function through simple visual cues. A cloth on a table indicates a studio. A folded cloth indicates a living room. Also, create a short soundtrack for each work mode. 2 songs are enough to tell the mind where to step. Use soothing scents as markers. Coffee to start. Lemon water to review. Herbs to close. In shared homes, combine quiet and conversational times with direct, gentle phrases, always with a defined beginning and end. If this route fails, return to the minimum viable. a 15-minute block, a low-friction task, a clean close. This is how creativity survives the everyday. Through explicit micro-agreements, clear symbols, and patient repetition, until the entire household learns to cooperate. The argument is as simple as running water. If the street brings floodwaters, you don't dam them with your hands. You dig a canal in the backyard for the water to power the mill. Creating at home is digging this canal with a small shovel. The shovel is the brief routine, the canal, the focus, the water, the flow of the world. When you set a course, the external force stops destroying and starts producing. Now answer quietly, so you can hear. What worthy fruit should spring from your discreet laboratory? No grandiose smoke. Say what can begin today. 2 pages of history, a simple arrangement, an imperfect prototype, an honest letter, clean code for a function. When you name the fruit, the body understands. When the body understands, it helps. The spine adjusts. The breath finds rhythm. The hand follows. Close with the step that protects tomorrow. When closing, make the first action of the next day visible. If you're writing, stop mid-sentence. If you're drawing, keep your pencil pointed at the corner that will be shaded. If you're studying, underline the line that opens the next topic. This step reduces the morning's inertia and protects the lab from the rust of delay. You wake up to find the track ready. The track pulls you along before your mind makes excuses. From now on, home isn't just rest. It's the place where you turn the crank of what matters until the machine starts and moves a few meters. Next, we'll adjust the environment for those seeking sensory peace without slipping into isolation. Sanctuary is good. A windowless sanctuary becomes a desert. I want your home to breathe with you, without stealing your presence in the world. I want you to walk with me through the most delicate territory of this journey. Sensory peace is a powerful medicine when the day overwhelms us with excessive stimuli. The antidote works, the pain subsides, and the head clears. But the same medicine, taken without measure, dulls the senses and ties life down within. This is where calm becomes quicksand. You notice when the house starts to get too quiet, as if even the objects breathe carefully so as not to wake something you've hidden in the next room. The carpet stays neat, the stack of books remains immaculate, the cup always returns to the same place. Everything is fine, but nothing happens. Peace, without openness, impoverishes life. Our job here is to preserve the sanctuary and install windows. Windows to the sun, to the wind, to conversation, to the responsibility that pushes you outside for a few minutes and brings you back better. I want you to observe a typical day. You wake up, move in silence, make a simple coffee, listen to the discreet sound of boiling water. The house feels like a temple. This image, which healed yesterday, weighs strangely heavy today. The phone has been on silent for hours, the curtains barely open. The sneakers by the door haven't seen the street for a week. Everything is under control, but your body warns that something has been too still. It's a mild discomfort that starts in the stomach and rises to the throat. The mind searches for an external reason and finds none. Here lies a hard and simple fact. Peace without exchange becomes absence. Prolonged absence creates imbalance. The human heart needs a minimal dose of the world to remember why it's beating. I'm not asking you to tear up the house with noise and visitors. I'm asking you to create a safe re-entry circuit. Think of 3 short outings that fit into your real routine, with a beginning, middle, and end. Walk 2 blocks in the sun, complete a small street task, exchange 3 sentences in person with someone who respects your pace. The secret is in the design. A short outing that follows a familiar route, a meeting that doesn't have to last more than 5 minutes, and a return for a simple gesture of care upon arrival. The house ceases to be an entire world and becomes a base once again. When you improve the foundation, life outside feels less harsh and more controlled. There are times when a sudden change wakes you up without asking permission. Those who live in apartments are familiar with the hum of renovations upstairs. Those who live on busy streets are familiar with the persistent roar of an engine. In cases like these, the peace is shattered from the outside in, and your first reaction is to close all the cracks. I urge you to try another approach. Before retiring, open the windows for 2 minutes and deliberately let the noise in. Your body realizes that the house isn't being invaded, but rather penetrated. When you close them, the silence returns with a contour. The contour is what saves us when reality becomes louder. Simply put, you teach your system to tolerate a small variation without going into alarm mode. Calibrated tolerance avoids the cycle of chronic irritation that saps your energy. I want to tell you about a scene that demonstrates the fine line between peace and isolation. A person could only sleep with white noise and, without realizing it, began using it to avoid any conversation in the late afternoon. The noise, which was a bridge to sleep, became a wall. The solution wasn't to abandon the device, but to program it to turn off after 20 minutes and, upon waking, play a short song inviting one to open the window. Small adjustments that restore openness without disrupting the calm. Sensory peace also requires honesty with the body's signals. Some people can't stand very bright white light. Others feel fatigued by strong smells. Still others are irritated by rough surfaces. When you name what bothers you and adjust one variable at a time, your home stops being a puzzle and becomes a piece of engineering. Changing the light bulb to a warmer tone, ventilating the room for 5 minutes before sitting down, changing the texture of clothing that touches your skin. Small changes generate great relief. The risk is confusing relief with total withdrawal. If every solution pushes you into a cocoon, the solution has become too big. The parameter is simple. Relief that restores the will to act is a friend. Relief that demands indefinite suspension of life is a trap. There will be days when the change comes from within. You wake up and feel like you don't want to talk to anyone. Generally, you respect and follow. Today, however, this stillness is mixed with a swollen laziness and clouded reasoning. Body, light, world. Body awakens with water and 5-minute articulate movement. By completing the triangle, laziness loses its power. If the urge to shrink back returns, repeat. The secret is to win on points, not by knockout. I'd like you to think of your home as a respiratory system. Inhaling is withdrawing. Exhaling is opening. Those who inhale without exhaling lose their breath. It's common to see people who know how to withdraw but don't know how to open. Your task now is to practice exhaling daily. The gesture can be tiny. Put your face in the sun for 3 minutes, send a short audio message to a friend, take a book to the balcony, and read a paragraph quietly. This trickle of air flowing in and out keeps life changing. When the exchange occurs, the fear of going outside diminishes, because the body learns that the world is not a monolithic block. The world exists in doses. You might be thinking it's hard to calibrate all this when life gets tough. That's precisely why I propose lightweight tools. The first is called an openness ruler. Draw a line on paper from 0 to 10. 0 is isolation, 10 is overexposure. Mark the position of your day, morning and night. If you woke up at 3, aim for a 5 at dusk with a simple opening gesture. If you woke up at 8, close with a strong gesture of retreat. The second tool is the window scheduler. Select 3 windows in the week, name each one, and follow them like someone taking medication. A window of nature, a window for short conversations, a window for community service. The third is the return mirror. Upon returning home, answer 2 short questions. What did the world give me today? What did I give the world today? Brief answers adjust the dose for the next day. I'll make one last twist before closing this section. Sometimes, the house that sheltered you for months creates a silent loyalty that prevents necessary changes. You remain at an address that no longer serves you because you've grown accustomed to the furniture arrangement, the afternoon light, the familiar sounds. Calling it home is honest, but it can hide a fear of starting over. If you've realized that the house itself has become a limit, start moving what can be moved without drama. Change the room where you work, move the desk, redesign the workflow. If, even so, the feeling of a low ceiling persists, consider planning a move. Amor fati isn't clinging to the setting out of nostalgia. It's working with what exists while responsibly preparing for the new. I want to close by returning to you the image of the sanctuary with windows. Sensory peace is precious when the world weighs on you. Its value increases when it serves the movement of life. You enter, calm, order, create, open the window, receive a little of the world, close it again, and rest. The sanctuary breathes with you and doesn't hijack your steps. This balance can't be bought. It can be trained. It requires listening to your body, gentle adjustments, and small acts of courage. If today you've recognized an excess of withdrawal, celebrate the diagnosis. Those who recognize, govern. And those who govern can adjust their course without haste or guilt. Next, I'll show you how to transform this balance into a daily practice, combining presence in the world and seclusion without losing clarity about what matters, so that your home becomes a foundation, not a boundary, and your life unfolds seamlessly, both inside and out. We've reached the point where the map ends and the real road begins. Everything you've practiced so far, silent forge, healing refuge, precise recharge, creation laboratory, and windowed sanctuary, must now fit into the same day, the same body, the same house. I walk beside you to close the arc with a simple adult gesture, uniting presence in the world and retreat without losing yourself. There are no hidden miracles. There is a method that respects your rhythm and restores your authorship. Amor fati here isn't just lip service. It's accepting the day as it comes and turning it into building material. You won't wait for the perfect tide. You'll learn to row with whatever tide comes, using the house as a harbor and the street as the sea, without confusing one with the other. I ask you to adopt a straightforward vision. Your life today will be written with 3 types of ink: care, creation, and contact. Care is what keeps you alive and whole. Creation is what transforms your energy into something that lasts. Contact is the measured exchange with the world, which dispels isolation and teaches the muscle of presence. When one of these 3 disappears, the day loses color. When all 3 circulate, you feel thickness and meaning. The practical path begins with an agreement that fits into any routine. Fit a short block of writing into each ink every day. It doesn't matter how busy or light the day is. Commitment is measured in minutes and clarity, not grandeur. This way, you build value without demanding an ideal scenario from fate. In the morning, point your body and mind in the right direction with a drama-free start. You wake up, water on your lips, window open, breathing in and out consciously. Place your foot on the floor and feel the weight. Tidy up the surface where you'll be working, leaving only what's necessary. Write a line that names your intention. Today, I take care of myself by doing this. I create this. I touch the world this way. Don't write more than that. Then, do a short cycle of the 3 verbs: empty, order, create. To empty is to remove a distraction from the path. To order is to put a small hole in place. To create is to produce something that didn't exist before, no matter how small it seems. This simple beginning is a hinge that unlocks the rest of the day. You don't start running, you start guiding. Midday, practice the fine-tuning that separates those who stray from those who remain. Stop for 5 minutes and take an honest inventory. How much energy remains? How much noise has entered? What still needs your help? Use the ruler for dose, duration, and distance. If your dose of the world is high, cut back a bit and return to your desk for 15 minutes of focus. If the duration of your effort has gone too far, move around, drink water, change rooms, and breathe near the window. If the distance between you and your demands has disappeared, re-establish a visible margin. Close a tab, put your phone on the tray, lean back in your chair, and feel the support. Midday, consciously decide for a micro-opening to the world or a micro-return home, as the ruler indicates. This decision prevents the snowball effect and keeps you in control of your own rhythm. When you need to leave, leave with form. Choose familiar routes, short goals, and conversations that respect your breath. Tell yourself the stabilizing phrase, "I take my center with me." In meetings, prefer things with a clear beginning and end. Speak simply, listen slowly, and don't accept tasks impulsively. If the world offers you excessive noise, use the acoustic door we trained, slow breathing, feet firmly on the ground, and an internal phrase that clears the space. I am here, whole, and I will be back soon. When you return, do the reverse with the same zeal. Wash your hands, align 2 objects, read 2 raised lines, and only then reopen your diary. What seems like a minimal ritual contains a major principle. You mark passages and preserve their continuity. If the afternoon gives you scope, hand over your best creative block to the lab. Don't wait for rare inspiration. Sit down and pick up where you left off in the morning. If there's resistance, remember the 3 layers that unlock passage: double reference, clear constraint, and big question. Place reference A and B side by side. Set the time and scope limit. And write the commanding question at the top. Work until the clock rings, stand up, and close the cycle with a gesture of body care. If the afternoon is short, turn whatever you have into a micro-victory. A clean paragraph, a drafted outline, a decision made quietly. Micro-victories combined deliver the silent macro change that so many people seek in grandiose promises. There will be rough days, new pain, hard news, unexpected events that push you off track. On those days, swap the complete method for the emergency protocol. Body, light, world. First body, because without the body, the rest doesn't work. Water, 5-minute stretches. Breathing that unties knots. Then light, even if the sky is gray. Window open, face in the air, shoulders slumped slightly. Then world, in the perfect dose to prevent stagnation. A helpful message sent. A concrete kindness. A light commitment fulfilled. If nothing else fits, everything is fine. You honored the essential and preserved continuity. Whoever preserves continuity keeps possibility alive, and that already changes the next day. Now I ask for something that speaks to your gentle courage. Choose a stone-like gesture to place on the ground today. A gesture that can withstand rain and wind. It could be this. Every day, before any screen, I write 2 sentences about what I will care for, create, and touch. Or this. At 12 p.m., I stop for 5 minutes to measure dose, duration, and distance. Or this. When I finish, I prepare tomorrow's first action. Choose one, just one, and honor it for 7 days. Then, review and add the second. The method arises from the repetition of small gestures that you fulfill attentively. When the temptation to promise too much arises, respond with a single fulfilled promise. As you read these last lines, I want you to feel the house breathing with you. Hear the soft hum of the fan, the quieter sound of the streets, the changing light on the floor. See your desk as an altar of possibility, not a pedestal of demands. See the street as a place for practicing presence, not a stage for judgment. See yourself as the author of a book you write 1 paragraph a day. Don't rush to the end. Don't skip chapters. If you fail one day, return to the beginning without embarrassing yourself. What matters is keeping your hand on the text. Each morning, renew the pact. I take care of myself. I create something. I touch the world. This simple triad gives energy to your days and leaves its mark on time. If it all seems overwhelming, breathe and reduce it to the first crumb of action. Get up, drink water, open the window, align 2 objects, write the first line. This is how you move a domestic mountain. One gesture, then another, without fanfare, with serenity and firmness. I remain here, like a voice that reminds and guides, but the body that acts is yours. The authority that matters arises from this encounter between clear guidance and concrete practice. When your hand touches life with intention, the world responds, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but it responds, and you learn to trust what you build. If this script resonated with you, make it a beginning, not an archive. Try the stone gesture today, observe the effect, and tell me how it went. This helps us refine our tools and bring this clarity to more people who need to transform their homes into foundations, not boundaries. If something here touched your path, I ask, with simplicity and gratitude, like this video, leave a comment, even if it's anonymous, if you prefer, and subscribe to the channel. Your gesture sustains this work, creates a support circle for those trying to rewrite their day, and gives me the measure to bring new lamps to your desk every week. Now, close this screen with respect. Take a deep breath, make the smallest stone gesture today, and then come back to share your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. See you soon.